you. And talk about the stress of holidays. I was definitely not new in that department for the past many years, especially for people who have extended families, spending time with in-laws. And so I actually had a very nice holiday this year for a change. I was surprised because my in-laws are here to stay with us for 3 months, and I'm still standing and breathing, which they're here mostly for the holidays because it's a holiday season. So we'll see. Next, please welcome Peter Ash again. And Peter wrote a very nice piece of memory that he had when he was in his late 20s. He wrote, "When I was in my late 20s, I drove out from Chicago to Boulder, Colorado for a vacation. I stayed with people I didn't know, friends of a friend. It turned out that they lived in a group house shared by a number of college students and dropouts. There were a number of guests who were all leaving around Labor Day. So the residents decided to celebrate Labor Day with a feast. Everyone was asked for a contribution. One guest, a hardcore hippie, didn't have any money. People told him that didn't matter, but he went out and came back a few hours later with his share. He had philandered for it. We all had a lovely time." Please welcome Peter Ash. He's the evaluator.
Harvey Fisher will eschew obfuscation. Gives us a talk entitled "Leading Fish in a Shark Tank." It's a 5 to 7 minute speech. It is not from a manual. His goal is to entertain us, enlighten us, and to not use notes very much.
While we are waiting for Harvey to come over here, I'm gonna share what Harvey wrote. "Every day is a holiday now that I'm retired."
It's reality.
Yeah, in 1983, my career took a bizarre turn. I was working full-time as a planning manager, production planning manager for a very large multinational aluminum company. I had a family of 4, and I was working towards my doctorate, and it wasn't going well. I was taking too much time, and a faculty committee decided to take my case up, and I figured they're going to kick me out. I felt like a bleeding fish in a shark tank. But something happened that really took a strange twist. On the committee was a visiting professor from the University of Bonn who took an interest in my subject because it was very much aligned with work he had been doing. So he called me in and he said, "Look, I'll supervise you to get through your dissertation, but give you a time limit, 3 months." So I went back to my company. I said, "I need a leave in absence for 3 months to finish my dissertation." To my surprise, they not only gave me the 3 months, but they gave me the 3 months at full salary.
Oh.
Great. So I went back, went to work, and I got through, got my dissertation done in 3 months, got through my oral, and went back to work, and about to take up my duties once again, and the president of the company called me into his office. He said, look, Harvey, one of our directors decided we need a corporate economist. At that time, every corporation had a corporate economist. That was the way it worked. And he said, I want you to be our corporate economist. He said, what the board of directors want means I would have to bring in someone in from the outside who doesn't have credibility in the company. I don't think the job will last long, and I'm just going to have to lay the person off. But with you, we get you as a corporate economist. If it doesn't work out, we can always find you another job. I said, but wait a minute. My degree is not in economics. I've never taken a course in economics. He said, oh, what difference does that make? You've been doing forecasting on your job. We'll get you a economic forecasting service, and it'll work out. So there I was, a corporate economist, and I was having a ball because I was talking to trade shows, I was helping out in the strategic planning process, I was working with the lawyers on some issues of antitrust. It was great, and no one knew the difference that I wasn't really an economist. And this was going very well. By the way, how many of you know who Tom Seaver was? He was one of the great pitchers of all time. At this time in the 80s, he was very controversial. He had been transferred from the New York Mets to Cincinnati and then back again. But one day I get a call from our public relations firm, and the guy says, Harvey, we just hired Tom Seaver to be our corporate spokesperson. And I said, who's Tom Seaver? And the guy says, my, you are an economist, aren't you? So he explained who Tom Seaver was, and he said, we announced we're going to announce that he's a corporate economist, and we're going to have a luncheon in New York, a press conference. And we want you to go to the press conference because we don't want the press conference to be all about sports. We want the company to be discussed. So you'll talk about the company, and he'll talk, he'll be interviewed by the press and everything else. So all the way there, I was thinking, gee, I don't know anything about baseball. What am I going to talk to Tom Seaver about? And I'm trying to think about it. I read up about his career. I realized he was being transferred back to the Mets at the time. So we get to luncheon. The press, I'm sitting next to him at lunch. And as it turned out, he and his wife were there. And what we talked about was the problems of transferring to a new town. Because I'd gone through that. I was transfer bait. And we talked about all the issues of finding a good school system for the kids and find a community with a short commute. And so we went through that and got very involved talking to him and talking to his wife. And afterwards, Tom said, Harvey, it was really a pleasure to talk to someone about something other than sports. And as it turned out, when we were leaving, he invited me down. I forgot the town where they had their spring training, but he invited me there. And he said, when you get there, just tell them who you are, and we'll have tickets for it.